and neck with frontrunners Mitt Romney and Rick Perry. He recently won the Florida straw poll and the National Federation of Women's straw poll, and 70% of those who saw the Republican debates say the more they learn about him and Kaine, the more they like him. So we'd like to learn some more too, and we welcome you, Mr. Kaine.
Thank you. Delighted to be here. My pleasure. Thank you, lady.
You have said that Chris Christie you thought was too liberal. Now he's not running, so I assume you're pleased with that.
I'm pleased with that for his sake, because the advice that I had given by way of interviews, if his heart's not in it, he should not do it. So I have to conclude that he's made this decision for the right reasons, because if he had decided to do it because of the media hype, it would have been the wrong reasons. I know for a fact.
I didn't mention, and I should have, because your heart's in it, that you have a book. This is Herman Cain.
Yes.
My Journey to the White House. So
yes.
I should have mentioned that. But let's talk about you.
Yes.
You have never held a political office.
Correct.
You admit that you don't know too much about foreign policy.
Not anymore.
Well, you've been
learning.
studying, yeah. But have you been to foreign countries, by the way?
I was in Israel in August, as an example. I have been to South Africa. I've been to Australia. So I've been to a number of countries.
So you've been to a number. Okay.
Most recently, I was in Israel in last August.
Okay, but in general, you have said you're not up to speed in foreign policy. I'm quoting you. And most of your experience has been as the CEO of the pizza company.
Yes.
Where I must say, you have, you worked very hard, and you, little by little, worked your way up, and to your great credit. But what makes you qualified to be president of the United States?
Well, let's not just focus on the pizza company. Remember, I worked my way up to become a vice president of the Pillsbury Company. I then worked my way up to become a vice president of Burger King Corporation. They then appointed me president and CEO of Godfathers, which was supposed to go bankrupt, but I didn't get the memo, so we saved the company. Then I headed up the National Restaurant Association. I've also served as chairman of the board of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. My first job was as a ballistics analyst, as a mathematician with the Department of Navy, working on fire control systems. I've served on the board of Strategic Air Command, Citizen Advisory Board earlier in my career. So net, I'm a problem solver. That's what I've done for over 40 years.
Right now.
Yes.
I've been in business, but you have never held elective office and very limited foreign policy experience. So,
Now, let me respond
Okay.
to that one. When I speak to groups all over the country, as you would imagine, when I get to the part that, number one, I don't have national name ID like some of the other candidates. Number two, I don't have $1 cajillion like some of the other candidates. And when I say I've never held public office, I get a spontaneous applause because they're tired of politicians as usual. The American people are ready for someone who is a businessman, problem solver first.
Let me...
I want to go back to this. We had a discussion yesterday, and it involved Rick Perry, and it was the story involving his family using a hunting lodge, and apparently this had the racial slur of "in-head" on a rock.
Yes.
Now, you were critical of him over the last few days about this. He has since said that, I want to get this right, his campaign said that the rock was painted over soon after Mr. Perry's father was giving hunting rights there in 1983, although some people have said it was even there in the 90s.
Right.
But is that apology, is that enough for you? Because you had said that it was insensitive.
I was saying I still stand by my statement that it was insensitive for it to be there up until 1983. And the statement that has been issued by Governor Perry's campaign, I accept that. I do not believe that that represents how Governor Rick Perry feels about black people in America. It was insensitive to leave it there as long as they left it.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
Can I ask about another statement that you made, too? You said that if you do run against Obama, you probably get about 1/3 of the African-American vote, but the other 2/3, you said to Wolf Blitzer, are brainwashed into voting for Obama again. You received backlash for that as well.
Yes.
Do you still stand by that statement?
I absolutely do, and here's why. I'm glad that you pointed out, and I said this in my statement, the good news is a lot of black Americans are thinking for themselves.
Yes.
Now, there are some that are so brainwashed that they won't even consider a conservative idea.
What do you do about that?
Well, you save the savable, and if they're not savable because they don't even want to hear the idea about my 999 plan, I tried to give that to some people, and they didn't want it because they saw me as a Republican, they saw me as a conservative. I call that being brainwashed, not being open-minded to another idea.
The Republican Party hasn't been black-friendly over the many centuries in this country.
I never said that.
Well, I'm
Should we
saying.
begin with
Yeah.
Lincoln?
Sorry?
I just think that there's, like, that's not necessarily true.
In the last,
and right
I think
now,
she's
just to
talking
be
about the
fair,
last
we gotta get
25
to be
years.
fair,
Okay.
to be fair, unemployment right now with the African American community, I believe, is over 18%. So right now, in terms of business, and you made this point, sir, that this is actually probably the toughest time for that community right now in terms of being fair to a certain community. We may not be.
I want to ask this because we're talking about unemployment and stuff, and I'm assuming that you have been giving this a great deal of thought.
Yes.
And so I'm going to ask you, just not, you know, the specifics, but an idea of how you would get corporations to stop stuffing their pockets and actually look at the people that they've fired, the thousands of people that they've fired, and start rehiring and getting manufacturing going. Because you're a businessman, I'm asking, just in general and quickly, because I see everybody has questions, how would you do it?
The first thing you do is you throw out the current tax code, which creates too much uncertainty for the business community. And this is why I have proposed my 999 plan. Very quickly, it imposes a 9% business flat tax, a 9% personal income tax, and a 9% national sales tax. It expands the base so everybody has a lower rate, and it is not regressive on the poor. Now, when you add certainty by passing this, that's what's going to cause the business community to be inspired to put together growth plans. Now, one of the reasons you've seen so many corporations do a lot of cutbacks in the last 3 years is out...
Or the last, I mean, it's longer than the last 3 years.
Longer than the last three is out of necessity. I served on the board of directors of several corporations, and one of the things we talked about in this economic downturn, especially when the meltdown of 2008 happened, what do we do to continue to serve our stockholders and try to make a profit? So they had to look at ways to become more productive. That's what has happened. But businesses want to grow. I have never sat in on a board meeting where they said, how do we stay the same or get smaller? They want to grow when you provide some certainty to the business environment.
All right.
I want to ask you about your conservative position on gay marriage and civil unions.
Are we changing subject?
Yeah, I'm changing the topic a little bit because you're a social conservative.
Yes.
Strictly, I think.
Yes.
You would like to roll back, bring back Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I think that you believe that being gay is a choice.
Yes.
And he also believes that no abortions, even if the woman is raped or
That's my feeling.
incest.
That's just my position.
You are a very conservative candidate.
Yes.
Okay.
But it has been basically, I think that to think that gay is a choice, I don't know how to respond to that. I mean, I don't think that anybody in this world wants to be gay, considering all of the vilification that is brought upon someone who is gay. Why would you choose that?
Well, you show me the science that says that it's not, and I could be persuaded. Right now, it's my opinion against the opinion of others who feel differently. That's just a difference of opinion.
Would you govern based on that? Would you govern based on that? Because there are politicians now that do separate, actually, their personal... Mitt Romney is a great example. He separated his personal beliefs from how he governed. Would you separate your personal beliefs from how you would govern?
Okay, you want me to answer one question at a time or two questions at a time?
Yes or no?
Just because you're conservative, you're an associate minister. I know this. You're an associate pastor at your church. Are you going to separate that from, you have to lead, you have to run a country with a lot of people with a lot of different beliefs?
I am going to make my decisions based upon the Constitution of the United States of America. That's what the president has a responsibility to do. Some of my personal feelings are not going to influence decisions that I need to make on behalf of all the people. That's what a president is supposed to do.
Yeah, that's what Obama said, too.
Yeah.
I'm not Obama.
You are certainly not Obama.
No.
I just want to say that one of the major things you've talked about that people should examine, I'm sorry we didn't have more time, was this 999, because it is very controversial. A lot of people think it hurts the poor people, but it is something that's new and fresh in this campaign, and I commend you for that. That's something that we should examine more.
Take a look at the 999 plan, and people can find it at my website, hermancain.com. It is not regressive on the poor, absolutely not, and we have the numbers to prove it. It will help to liberate this economy.
We thank you for coming on. As you see, with all of us, we have a lot of questions, so does the country, and you'll have a lot more answers to give in the coming months. We appreciate your coming on with us. Thank you, Mr. Cain. And everyone in our audience is going to get